There was a time when Friday nights did not need complicated plots or modern special effects. All audiences needed was the roar of an engine, the sight of an orange Dodge Charger flying through the air, and the knowledge that another adventure in Hazzard County had begun. The Dukes of Hazzard was a place where the law was always slower than Bo and Luke Duke, and every chase could end with a gravity-defying jump. John Schneider and Tom Wopat portrayed two Southern boys on probation who still managed to find themselves in constant trouble. By their side were the calm and wise Uncle Jesse, their captivating cousin Daisy, and the famous General Lee, whose two doors were almost never used. On the other side were the clumsy Sheriff Roscoe and Boss Hogg, a man who always appeared in a white suit and dreamed up money-making schemes that never succeeded. Over many seasons, the Dukes of Hazzard turned car chases, wrecked police vehicles, and unbelievable stunts into entertainment for millions of viewers. But behind all that laughter were many strange secrets. Today, we are going to uncover 12 little-known facts about this legendary television series. Number 12. Uncle Jesse was actually very wealthy. On screen, Uncle Jesse was a country moonshiner who always seemed to be just one more traffic ticket away from losing the family farm. He wore overalls, offered homespun advice, and acted as though $20 was an entire fortune. Before becoming Uncle Jesse in the Dukes of Hazzard, Denver Pyle had spent many years working in television and was especially beloved for his role as Briscoe Darling on The Andy Griffith Show. However, acting was not his most surprising source of income.
I'm low.
When many investors abandoned old oil wells because they believed they were no longer valuable, Pyle quietly bought them at extremely low prices. At the time, oil cost only about $2.15 per barrel, making his decision seem like an unwise gamble. But then the 1973 oil crisis changed everything. Oil prices rose sharply, while new extraction technology allowed wells that were thought to be dry to continue producing. Properties once considered useless quickly brought Pyle enormous profits.
In the Dallas area today, dealers raised prices to more than 40 cents a gallon.
By 1981, the money he had earned from oil had surpassed his income from nearly 30 years of acting. Even so, Pyle did not leave Hollywood. He admitted that his acting income allowed him to continue investing, while acting itself was simply the work that made him happy. After the Dukes of Hazzard ended, he continued appearing in Return to Mayberry, Murder, She Wrote, Dallas, and Maverick. His final role was Uncle Jesse in the 1997 reunion movie, filmed shortly before he passed away later that same year. In real life, he continued investing in oil and organized the charity event Uncle Jesse's Fishing Tournament in Texas, raising millions of dollars for programs supporting children. So his beard may have reflected the wisdom of a country farmer, but his bank account was saying, "I could buy this entire county and still have enough change left over for another tractor." Number 11. The Dukes of Hazzard began in Georgia, then Hollywood took over. In November 1978, the Dukes of Hazzard began filming in several real towns across Georgia, including Loganville, Social Circle, Conyers, Covington, and Atlanta. Ironically, Snellville, the fake hometown John Schneider had once used to fool the casting team, was not on the list. During those early days, the production crew did not have to work very hard to create Hazzard County. The dirt roads, fields, farms, and distinctive southern heat and humidity were all completely real. That was exactly what gave the first 5 episodes a look and atmosphere unlike the rest of the series. The show felt dustier, grittier, and somewhat more daring at the time. Adult humor, rough language, and a genuine sense of danger were all clearly present. This was the Dukes of Hazzard before the network realized the show could attract the entire family and began making it lighter and cleaner. After Warner Brothers watched the first episodes and realized it might have a hit show on its hands, the studio decided to move the entire production to California. The following scenes were filmed at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank and Disney's Golden Oak Ranch in Newhall. Moving locations allowed the crew to control the filming schedule, props, and action sequences more easily. Most importantly, they could build a massive car workshop to repair, replace, and destroy countless Dodge Chargers during the famous jumps. After episode 5, Hazzard County was no longer truly located in Georgia. It became any corner of California that could be disguised with a few bales of hay, a dirt road, and a convincing enough Southern accent.
Stop him!
However, one part of the real Hazzard County still exists. The building used as the Boar's Nest in Covington has since become the Deliverance Christian Tabernacle. The place where Daisy once served beer and the Duke boys frequently started fights is now where people gather to pray. Perhaps no location in television history has ever undergone a transformation so unexpected, ironic, and strangely perfect. Number 10. John Schneider lied to get on the show. John Schneider may have played a true Southern boy on television, but in real life, he was just an 18-year-old from Mount Kisco, New York, about as far removed from the rural American South as anyone could be. So when he heard about auditions for the role of Bo Duke, he did what any fearless teenager with no Southern roots might do. He invented an entire background for himself.
Hey, Roscoe, I got an idea.
What?
If you write some music to that, Luke and I'll sing it for you.
He borrowed an old pickup truck, deliberately avoided shaving for several days, and put on a strange-looking hat. Schneider then showed up at the audition carrying a can of beer, speaking with a thick Southern accent, and confidently claiming that he came from Snellville, Georgia. The producers had no idea that the young man standing in front of them had grown up in suburban New York. They also failed to realize that his accent was simply a performance Schneider had prepared to fit the image of Bo Duke. He stayed in character so convincingly that no one questioned his story. Even more ironically, Schneider did not yet know how to drive the General Lee, the car that would become the symbol of the Dukes of Hazzard. After winning the role, he had to learn how to handle it and become comfortable filming high-speed scenes.
Well, I guess we only got one choice.
Go for it.
That bold gamble ultimately paid off beyond anything he could have imagined. John Schneider won the role of Bo Duke and remained with the character for all 7 seasons. A teenager from New York created a new accent, hometown, and identity for himself, then became one of the most famous Southern boys in television history. Hollywood is often seen as a place where dreams come true, but in Schneider's case, that dream began with a borrowed pickup truck, a can of beer, and a lie that was simply too perfect. Number 9. The General Lee was intentionally designed without working doors. Why did Bo and Luke always climb through the windows of the General Lee as though they were late for dinner? Because in the show, the car doors were welded shut, just like those on real race cars. Within the world of the series, the General Lee had been modified to travel at high speeds, withstand crashes, and perform insane jumps. Welding the doors shut was therefore explained as a way to make the body of the car stronger. Considering that this Dodge Charger regularly flew over creeks, fences, and even police cars, the explanation sounded fairly convincing. But in reality, the most important reason was style. The image of the Duke boys climbing through the windows became an irreplaceable trademark of the show. However, the truth behind the cameras was much more complicated. Hundreds of Dodge Chargers were used to portray the General Lee throughout the production. Not all of them had their doors welded shut. Some of the main cars, usually featured in close-up shots or special stunt scenes, were modified to match the image shown on screen. Meanwhile, many others kept their doors fully functional so crew members, stunt drivers, and mechanics could get in and out more easily.
Watch this.
Even so, once the cameras started rolling, no one was allowed to enter the General Lee through the doors. Doing so would have been like seeing a cowboy wearing beach sandals. It would have completely ruined the image. However, the show once allowed a rare moment to slip through. In the second season episode Days of Shine and Roses, Luke unexpectedly closes the General Lee's door. The shot appears for only a split second, but fans still noticed it. To them, that moment was about as rare as spotting Bigfoot taking a walk in broad daylight. Number 8. The General Lee received more fan mail than the entire cast. Bo and Luke may have been the two leading faces of the Dukes of Hazzard. Daisy may have captivated millions of viewers, but at the height of the show's popularity, the character that attracted the most attention from fans was not even human. It was the General Lee. Each month, the production received around 60,000 letters from viewers, and incredibly, more than half of them were addressed specifically to the orange Dodge Charger. In other words, a car that could not speak, act, or memorize lines easily surpassed the entire cast in the amount of fan mail it received.
One thing them old boys love better than a race on the track. It's a chase on the road.
The letters covered a wide variety of topics. Children wanted to know what kind of engine the car used, how fast it could go, and how it performed those spectacular jumps. Adults were more curious about the cost of buying a similar Dodge Charger, or how they could transform their own cars into replicas of the General Lee. Some people even wrote emotional letters, simply to praise how incredible the car looked while flying over fences, jumping over police cars, or crashing through a billboard in slow motion. By then, the General Lee was no longer simply a vehicle used by the Duke boys. It had personality, style, and had almost become a separate character of its own. Every time its horn played the melody of Dixie, viewers knew that another chaotic chase was about to begin. Warner Brothers quickly recognized its appeal. The image of the General Lee appeared on toy models, t-shirts, lunchboxes, and countless other products, turning the car into a genuine money-making machine. The Dukes of Hazzard featured many beloved actors, but its brightest star was the orange car that almost never failed to complete a jump. Number 7. The price paid for those crashes may surprise you. To be honest, the Dukes of Hazzard was almost an excuse to jump cars, blow things up, and occasionally squeeze a storyline somewhere in between. The General Lee was constantly launched over ramps, across creeks, through barns, over bridges, and sometimes appeared to fly into another dimension. And someone had to be sitting inside that car when it happened. A real human being, with real bones and real insurance premiums. Stunt performers were injured fairly often. Cars rolled over unexpectedly. Jumps went off course, roll cages failed, and safety harnesses snapped. Unlike modern productions with CGI and countless digital safety measures, those crashes were completely real. It was simply a stunt driver wearing a helmet and holding tightly to whatever lucky charm or religious symbol could fit inside the glove compartment. And the stunt team was not the only group facing danger.
That's how you're supposed to do it, Clem.
In 1980, a camera assistant named Rodney Mitchell was killed when the camera truck lost control on a muddy stretch of road during filming. It was a painful reminder that behind the cheering, the slow-motion crashes, and the lighthearted chases were real people who accepted serious risks to create the iconic moments audiences still remember today. The show went through stunt performers even faster than it went through destroyed Dodge Chargers. And that was already an astonishing number. Honestly, the true unsung heroes may have been the orthopedic doctors and physical therapists in the Los Angeles area. Their schedules must have been completely full for 7 straight years. Number 6. The General Lees that still exist today may be worth more than a house. Here is a financial twist that may make you question every investment decision you have ever made. During the production of The Dukes of Hazzard, more than 300 Dodge Chargers were used. Most of them were damaged or destroyed during chase scenes and spectacular jumps. At the time, they were simply treated as disposable props. When one car was wrecked, the crew painted another one orange and continued filming. But decades later, everything has completely changed. It is believed that only about 17 to 20 authentic General Lees that actually appeared in the show still exist. That scarcity has turned them into extremely valuable collectibles. Depending on their condition, screen history, and level of authenticity, a General Lee that appeared on screen can be valued at more than $300,000. With that amount of money, many people could buy a house. But for collectors, the chance to own a car that once flew through a barn is more appealing than real estate. In 2008, Schneider, who played Bo Duke, sold a General Lee replica for $250,000. Remarkably, the car had never appeared in the show. Its value came from the quality of the restoration and its direct connection to the actor. In 2012, golfer Bubba Watson paid $130,000 for Lee 1, the first General Lee to appear in the pilot episode. From a car that once launched over a dirt hill, it became a carefully preserved treasure kept inside a garage. The Dukes of Hazzard once destroyed hundreds of cars to entertain audiences, but unintentionally turned the surviving vehicles into some of the most valuable pieces of television memorabilia. Number 5. The cast read the script and said, "No way." You might think that a movie remake of The Dukes of Hazzard would have been the perfect opportunity to bring the original cast back for nostalgic cameo appearances. But the reality was completely different. John Schneider, Tom Wopat, and Catherine Bach were all invited to appear in the movie, and all three of them refused. When we say they politely declined, it probably means they read the first few pages of the script and wanted to run out of the room as quickly as possible. Ben Jones, who played Cooter, reacted even more strongly. He publicly described the movie as trashy and vulgar. He boycotted the premiere and declared that the movie had nothing in common with the spirit of the original series. This came from a man who spent 7 seasons playing a mechanic who repaired cars that were held together with duct tape and prayers.
You didn't know? Well, you said he was okay with it.
Look at the road, Bo. Look at the road.
When the very people who made the show successful deliberately distanced themselves from the remake, turned down an easy paycheck, and refused the chance to return to the public eye, that is more than just a warning sign. It is an alarm signal that can be seen from outer space. Somehow, the 2005 movie took everything that once made the Dukes of Hazzard so appealing and turned it into something that made the original cast visibly uncomfortable. That takes a certain kind of talent. Unfortunately, it was not the kind of talent anyone would want to have. Number 4. The actor who played Boss Hogg was a real-life genius. Sorrel Book was the kind of person who could truly be called a genius. He graduated at the top of his high school class. He was accepted into Columbia University at only 16 years old and completed his studies at 19, an age when many people still have no idea what they want to do with their lives. He later continued his education at Yale and earned a Master of Fine Arts degree. But education was only one part of his extraordinary life. During the Korean War, Book served as a counterintelligence officer. He spoke 6 languages fluently, including English, French, Japanese, Spanish, Russian, and Italian. He could also communicate in Arabic, Mandarin, and Swedish. Before joining the Dukes of Hazzard, Book was already a professionally trained actor. He had performed on Broadway, received an Emmy nomination, and appeared in popular shows such as MASH, Columbo, and All in the Family. However, the role audiences remembered him for most was still Boss Hogg. To create the character's round appearance, Book had to wear several layers of padding beneath his costume. During filming, he stood about 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighed nearly 185 pounds. But the fake stomach gave Boss Hogg a waist measuring around 5 feet. Even the character's drawn-out Southern accent was not created by chance. Book studied the speaking styles of 2 United States senators, Sam Ervin and Strom Thurmond, then combined them to create Boss Hogg's distinctive voice.
Is that good news? You mean that my sworn enemy, Cassius Claiborne, he's got his hands on the Duke boys? Yes, oh, glory be.
After the series ended in 1985, he continued doing voice work for Scooby-Doo Meets the Boo Brothers, Captain Planet, and Bonkers. He even served as a guest conductor for the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra. Sorrel Book passed away in 1994 at the age of 64. Behind one of the funniest characters on American television was a Yale scholar, a former counterintelligence officer, and an exceptionally gifted artist. Number 3. The contract dispute almost forced the show off the air. When the Dukes of Hazzard was at the height of its popularity, no one imagined that the show's 2 most important faces could disappear because of a dispute behind the cameras. John Schneider and Tom Wopat, the actors who played Bo and Luke Duke, suddenly left the series during its 5th season. Years later, some people still believed they had walked away to pursue bigger roles. Several newspapers suggested that fame had simply made the two actors' egos grow too large. But the real reason was much simpler: money. The images of Bo and Luke appeared on almost every product that could be sold, including lunchboxes, toy cars, clothing, and bedding. Warner Brothers earned enormous profits from the wave of merchandise, but Schneider and Wopat believed they were not receiving a fair share of the revenue. When negotiations failed to produce an agreement, both actors decided to walk off the set. The network's response?
Bye, Felicia.
Instead of immediately giving in, CBS chose a risky solution. The network introduced two new cousins, Coy Duke and Vance Duke, as replacements. Byron Cherry and Christopher Mayer were given the General Lee, the familiar chase scenes, and personalities designed to resemble Bo and Luke. But there was one thing the producers could not recreate: the appeal of the original stars. Viewers quickly protested. Ratings began to fall, and the letters that once expressed love for the show gradually turned into complaints. Although Coy and Vance had been signed to long-term contracts, they appeared in only 19 episodes during the 5th season.
Sam, we're beginning to wonder if you'd ever get here.
Oh, if I'd have known we was gonna get a welcome like this, we would have come back years ago. Ain't that right, Coy? Shoot, we never would have left.
Ratings tanked.
When the dispute was finally resolved, John Schneider and Tom Wopat immediately returned. Bo and Luke were back behind the wheel of the General Lee, as though they had never left. Coy and Vance, meanwhile, disappeared almost without a trace. There was no memorable farewell, no flashback, and no one in Hazzard County ever mentioned them again. It was an expensive lesson for CBS. Viewers were willing to accept many ridiculous things in the Dukes of Hazzard, but they would not accept a General Lee without Bo and Luke. Number 2. The Dukes of Hazzard once had a strange animated version. But in 1983, the producers decided to transform that formula into a Saturday morning cartoon called The Dukes. Instead of simply driving around Hazzard County, the Duke family now entered a worldwide automobile race to win the prize money and save their farm from foreclosure. Naturally, Boss Hogg could not stay out of it. He joined the race with Sheriff Roscoe and his dog Flash, planning to cheat his way to victory, take the prize money, and seize the Duke family farm. No one explained who had organized the race, where the money came from, or why the familiar characters appeared to be the only competitors involved.
All right, Roscoe, start moving over towards them.
What's that sneaky old Boss Hogg up to now?
I better ease off on the gas a mite until we find out.
Each episode began with Uncle Jesse reading a letter to Smokey, the family's pet raccoon, about their latest adventures. Apparently, the producers believed that a raccoon was the perfect audience for a story about high-speed races across continents. But the strangest part involved the two main characters. When the animated series was produced, John Schneider and Tom Wopat were still involved in their contract dispute with CBS. As a result, Bo and Luke did not appear in the first season. Instead, Coy and Vance Duke were placed at the center of the story as though they had always been the main stars of the franchise. After Schneider and Wopat returned to the television series, Bo and Luke also appeared in the second season of the cartoon. Coy and Vance immediately disappeared without any explanation or farewell scene.
Whatever boss planned, it didn't work out. Bye!
The Dukes was produced by Hanna-Barbera, the studio behind Scooby-Doo and the Flintstones. As a result, the series was filled with reused animation, familiar sound effects, and laws of physics that only existed when the story needed them. The General Lee could race from France to Fiji while its Dixie horn continued to sound perfectly. The series lasted only 20 episodes across 2 seasons. However, it still included the complete Saturday morning cartoon formula: ridiculous disguises, exaggerated comedy, confusing logic, and a raccoon that lasted longer than both Coy and Vance. Number 1. The famous two-wheel driving stunt could only be performed in one direction. If you look closely at the scenes where the General Lee drives tilted on 2 wheels, you will notice a strange detail. Almost every time, the car leans in the same direction. The wheels on the driver's side lift off the road, while the passenger side wheels remain on the ground. The same pattern can also be seen with many of the police cars in the series. This was not a random decision by the director. It came from the unique ability of Buzz Bundy, the stunt driver who performed most of the two-wheel driving scenes in The Dukes of Hazzard. Bundy was one of Hollywood's finest automobile stunt performers. However, he could only balance a car when the driver's side was raised. He tried performing the stunt in the opposite direction, but could not do it successfully. Buzz described it as being similar to a person who is right-handed or left-handed. The only difference was that instead of holding a pen, he was controlling more than 2,800 pounds of metal traveling at high speed. As a result, whenever the script called for a two-wheel driving scene, the production crew usually had to design the camera angle and direction of travel around Buzz's ability. Instead of finding someone else to risk performing the stunt in the opposite direction, they simply adjusted the scene. Bundy's skill was so rare that he became one of the leading choices for this type of stunt in many movies and television shows. He performed in Knight Rider, The Fall Guy, and several other famous productions. If a car appeared on screen during the 1980s and suddenly began driving on two wheels, there was a good chance Buzz Bundy was behind the wheel. Unlike modern stunts supported by cables, lifting rigs, or visual effects, Buzz's performances relied entirely on skill. Even a small mistake in speed or steering angle could cause the car to lose its balance. Buzz Bundy passed away in 2020, but his two-wheel driving stunts remain an unforgettable part of the Dukes of Hazzard. They were more than action scenes. They represented an era when stunt performers had to turn the impossible into reality with their own hands. And that concludes our look at 12 fascinating facts, proving that the real story behind the Dukes of Hazzard was every bit as strange, wild, and entertaining as what audiences saw on screen. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video all the way to the end. If you found this content interesting and helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next exciting videos.